In 2001, something terrifying happened. Not a terrorist attack, not a war, not a market crash. A company collapsed. And when it did, $60 billion in value vanished. Thousands of Americans lost their jobs. Retirement accounts were wiped out. Trust in corporate America shattered. The company? Enron. But here's the question that still haunts Wall Street. How did one of the most admired companies in America turn out to be one of the biggest frauds in history? And more importantly, could it happen again? Enron wasn't born evil. It started in 1985 as a simple pipeline company in Houston, Texas. But in the 1990s, everything changed. Under founder Kenneth Lay and CAO Jeffrey Skilling, Enron transformed. They didn't just move gas. They traded energy like Wall Street traded stocks, electricity, natural gas, broadband, even weather futures. Enron claimed it was reinventing markets, and America believed them. By 2000, Enron was ranked one of the most innovative companies in the country. Its stock price climbed past $90. Investors called it the future. But here's something strange. If a company is making that much money, why were its financial statements almost impossible to understand? Let's talk about the trick. Enron used something called mark-to-market accounting. It sounds technical, but the idea is simple. Instead of reporting actual profits, they reported projected profits. Imagine signing a 10-year contract today. You estimate it might make $200 million over a decade. Most companies would record profit gradually. Enron recorded all $200 million immediately, before earning it, before collecting it, before knowing if it would even happen. So on paper, Enron looked insanely profitable. In reality, cash wasn't flowing in, and when deals failed, losses weren't reported honestly. They were hidden. But how do you hide billions of dollars in losses? That's where things become dangerous. Enron created hundreds of off-the-books partnerships. These were called special purpose entities. Their purpose? Hide debt. If Enron had a losing project, they moved it into one of these entities. Investors didn't see the debt. Analysts didn't see the risk. The balance sheet looked clean. But behind the curtain, the company was rotting. And here's the part that shocked the world. The accounting firm Arthur Andersen approved everything. One of the biggest auditing firms in America, signing off quarter after quarter. So now we have to ask, was nobody checking, or was everyone too afraid to question success? Because when stock prices keep rising, people stop asking hard questions. Chapter 4. The Culture of Fear and Arrogance, 7-9. Inside Enron, the culture was intense. Employees were ranked aggressively. The bottom performers were fired every year. Risk-taking was rewarded. Questioning leadership was not. Executives believed they were the smartest people in the room. Jeffrey Skilling once described Enron employees as elite thinkers. But intelligence without ethics is dangerous. While public employees were told buy more company stock, executives were quietly selling millions of dollars worth of shares. Think about that. They knew the company was unstable, but regular Americans didn't. Employees had their 401ks heavily invested in Enron stock, and when the stock began collapsing, many were locked out from selling. Executive, they were already out. This wasn't just financial manipulation, it was moral failure. And then, in 2001, the cracks began to show. In mid-2001, analysts started questioning the numbers. Journalists investigated complex partnerships. Suddenly, investors weren't confident anymore. The stock began falling. $90, $70, $40, $20, then under $1. In December 2001, Enron filed for bankruptcy. At the time, it was the largest corporate bankruptcy in U.S. history. 20,000 employees lost jobs. Billions in retirement savings disappeared. People nearing retirement had nothing left. Families lost homes. Trust collapsed. And America realized something terrifying. If Enron could fake success for years. Who else could? Federal investigations followed. Executives were charged with fraud and conspiracy. Kenneth Lay was convicted but died before sentencing. Jeffrey Skilling was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Arthur Andersen was found guilty of obstruction of justice. The firm collapsed. Thousands more lost jobs. One scandal destroyed two giants. But the impact went beyond prison sentences. It changed U.S. law. Chapter 7. The law that changed corporate America. In 2002, Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. This law forced CEOs to personally certify financial statements. It increased criminal penalties. It strengthened auditing standards. It made corporate fraud harder to hide. Today, when you see stricter earnings disclosures, that's Enron's legacy. But here's the deeper lesson. Fraud doesn't begin with evil, it begins with small compromises. One aggressive accounting choice, one hidden loss, one decision to protect stock price instead of truth. And slowly, the illusion grows. Final psychological lesson, 1345-15. Enron wasn't just a fraud story, it was a psychology story. Hype, greed, fear of missing out, blind trust in genius executives. The stock market rewards confidence, but sometimes confidence hides danger. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The market didn't collapse Enron, reality did. So when you invest, ask yourself, do I understand how this company actually makes money? Are the numbers simple and transparent, or are they complicated and too smart? Because history shows us something powerful. The bigger the hype, the harder the fall. And Enron proved that to America.